Part 47. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 461. Not to mention entry-level onmyoges such as the first and second ranks, even a celestial yin and yang master can't get into Yuan Mingqi's eyes. Yuan Mingqi, that is a myth standing in the world of yin-yang and five elements. He is not the same as Yu Wu who killed the Fujiyama family in fear. The latter is a fighting maniac, violently breaking the situation. The former is a demon that confuses people's hearts. The appearance of Yuan Mingqi is a handsome young man, as clear as spring water, without any lethality or threat. But when people got lost under his smile, the corpse was already in a different place. The worlds of yin-yang and five elements are also guessing, if Yuan Mingqi and Yu Wu meet, who will win? The young onmyoji pointed to a few middle-aged people who were kneeling on the ground, and continued, "Did you see that even the onmyoji of the Fujiyama family would kneel to ask Mr. Yuan, if Mr. Yuan hadn't come here today, you wouldn't even be here today, you can't even see the true face." Yuan Mingqi didn't make any disguises, his face was completely exposed to everyone's sight, under the thin sunlight, his smile was faint, as beautiful as a breeze and a bright moon. In just an instant, men, women and children seemed to be bewildered by his beautiful face like clear water. Even Ji Xingzi froze in place. But after all, he is already a celestial master of yin-yang, he came back to his senses in a second, his expression changed. "Brother, his cultivation level is really high. It is almost comparable to the great elder of the Ji family. But the great elder of the Ji family is now an octogenarian, and Yuan Mingqi's age will never exceed 30. It is foreseeable that he will reach a higher level in the future. No wonder it is said that each of the 9 disciples on the top of the cloud is a dragon and a phoenix among men, each stronger than the other. Yuan Mingpool is only ranked 5th. Sci-fi didn't pay attention to the ridicule and sarcasm of the young onmyoji. She pressed down on the brim of her hat, and while walking in with Ji Xingzi, she said lightly, "Well, his yin-yang technique is superb, and he is also good at astrolabe and facial feng shui. You should know that a person can have at most 1 natal shikigami, but he has 3. Hearing this sentence, Ji Xingzi took a deep breath. What a terrifying strength. This life shikigami is different from ordinary ones. Onmyoges of rank 4 or above can summon floating spirits to become temporary shikigami. But not all onmyoji have natal shikigami. Only by condensing the natal shikigami can one become a master of yin and yang. If the natal shikigami is destroyed, this onmyoji can be considered half disabled." Ji Xingzi glanced at Yuan Mingqi cautiously again, lowered his voice and said to Si, "Brother, are you also wondering what kind of perverts are the other 8 disciples on the top of the cloud? What kind of terrifying master is this?" "No, Si was thinking seriously, I was thinking that both he and the Duke of Miston are single, so who should I introduce this 3-nun girl, Koimu Minjiu? They are all her senior brothers, so one cannot favor one over another." Ji Xingzi. Here, Yuan Mingqi's eyes froze suddenly, and his brows frowned. He seemed to feel a very familiar breath just now. But before he could catch it, it disappeared again. Could it be the enemy? The cultivation base in the power of yin-yang and 5 elements has reached his level, and there are too few threats that can make him feel threatened. The left is only the master, the senior brother, the second senior brother, and the junior sister. But if it's a senior brother, he won't hide it. Yuan Mingqi scanned the crowd with his gradually sharp eyes, but he didn't find that aura again. His long eyelashes were drawn back, and his thoughts were running at high speed. It was someone he knew, and for some reason he couldn't meet him in front of so many people at this time, otherwise there would be trouble. He began to calmly exclude each object in his mind. In the end, it was found that there was no matching number. Yuan Mingqi frowned. It seems that there is no need to talk about Jingmo, he also has to stay here for a while. He also knew the overtones in Tan Jingmo's words, asking him to buy wine. In fact, Dongsang had important information that he needed to investigate. Yuan Mingqi didn't intend to talk to other people, and followed the frightened old man to the house where he was staying. Not only the Fujiyama family, but also the three Dongsang Onmyoji families of Sakai, Takaizawa, and Natsukawa. But to their regret, they were all turned away, and even Yuan Mingqi himself couldn't see it. After seeing Shizue Fujiyama coming, the expressions of the Onmyojis became vigilant. It's Shizue Fujiyama, he really got out. If you can't see through his cultivation, he may have surpassed the level of a yin and yang celestial master. Hello, Mr. Yuan Fujiyama. Shizue stepped forward, knelt outside the door, bowed respectfully, and said respectfully, I am Jinja, the 25th generation descendant of the Fujiyama family. I have met Mr. Yuan again. Yuan Mingqi paused. Fujiyama. Although he has been in the Free State all year round, he also understands the current structure and division of forces in the yin-yang and five-element realms. Among all the Onmyoji families, the Fujiyama family is well-deserved number one. But this has nothing to do with him. The Fujiyama family has their own calculations in mind, and he knows it all too well. Yuan Mingqi said lightly, no time, no see. The waiter quickly backed away to reply. This reaction was within Fujiyama Shizue's expectation, but she was still very disappointed in her heart. This exchange meeting will last for 7 days, and he believes that as long as he is sincere in visiting the cottage, Yuan Mingqi will definitely meet him. The top priority is to keep Sci-fi, a daughter of luck, at Fujiyama's house as soon as possible. Fujiyama Jing also left in a hurry and went back to Fujiyama's house to prepare for tomorrow's work. The next day, at 7 p.m., the Nine Heavens Awards ceremony was held at the Kingdo International Theatre as scheduled. Because both the Opal Grand Ceremony and the 9-day awards ceremony are held in Kingdo, there are many tourists in Kingdo these days. The news that Sci-fi is the god of nine has spread all over the world. Today, the audience who came to watch the live broadcast of the 9 awards, apart from Moose, are probably esports fans. Good guy, you look for God 9 every day, but God 9 is right in front of you. Damn it, I have to ask God 9's agent why he delayed the top esports player 9 God. Although I don't always look at faces, I can brag about Sci-fi's looks for a year. Without exception, and not beyond Sci-fi's expectations, this year's 9 Days Award was awarded to Miss Ha Walls, the veteran Glen actress. But to Sci-fi's surprise, the judges actually mentioned her name after the Best Actress award was awarded. Miss Sci-fi of the Great Xia Empire, your acting skills have been recognized by all of our judges, but there are still some small deficiencies in other aspects. It is a pity that we cannot choose 2 Best Actresses for the 9 Heavens Award, otherwise I will definitely choose you. The female judge smiled slightly. We believe that you can make a better TV series. Next year's 9 Heavens Award is waiting for you, and I look forward to a new TV series from you. As soon as the sentence came out, the audience was in an uproar. Over the years, the competition for the 9 Heavens Awards has been very fierce. Everyone was surprised that the Great Xia Empire's TV series could be shortlisted, but Sci-fi still managed to make the judges say such a thing. On the stage, Miss Ha Walls was also applauding without any dissatisfaction. It can be seen that this actor, who is a god in both TV drama and film fields, also highly recognizes Sci-fi. It doesn't matter. Fight again next year. Zhenguo's female general rushes. Grand Slam backlash. Hee, this is ridiculous. Sci-fi's fans were so crazy before. I thought Sci-fi had already won the 9-day award, but it turns out he didn't. Oh, the sunspots are coming here again. Your sister Si was nominated for the Jushin Award for her first TV series. I think some people have filmed more than a dozen of them and haven't even gotten the Jushin Award. Laughing, Sci-fi has already shared the stage with Miss Ha Walls, the veteran Glen actress, but a certain senior can't even see Miss Ha Walls. The more mainstream awards SI fucking wins and the stronger his performance, the greater the confidence of the muses. This is also Sushuang's fan of a career-oriented female star. At the end of the awards ceremony, backstage, Miss Ha Walls and SI fucking hugged each other gently and kissed each other. I saw your performance in Walking the Devil. It was very good. Your acting skills are really good. There is no trace of performance, as if it is the character itself. Miss Ha hesitated for a while, and finally couldn't help asking, are we? Where have you seen it? In Daxia, there is a saying that we never meet again in life. SI fucking smiled and said softly, maybe we will cooperate with teacher Miss Ha in the future. Miss Ha Walls also smiled, okay, I look forward to future cooperation. She watched SI fucking leave, and stood there for a while, before she suddenly realized where the familiar feeling came from. Like Yunlin. Same age, same talented actor. It almost brought her back many years ago, when she first met Yunlan. How can there be two people so alike? Miss Ha was shocked. Miss Ha, the manager, stopped her and smiled, why are you in a daze here? Miss Ha came back to her senses, her expression gradually serious. I have a hunch that this Miss SI can achieve Alan's achievement, maybe even higher. Hearing this sentence, the manager couldn't help being surprised. Are you serious? He did see that Miss Ha recognized SI fucking very much, but he didn't expect her evaluation to be so high. Yunlan received the Glenn Lifetime Achievement Award at the age of 22, how could it be higher? Seriously, Miss Ha smiled faintly, there is something in her that Alan doesn't have, an indifferent persistence that transcends life and death. I believe she can reach the peak within 2 years. 24 years had passed since Yunlan received the Lifetime Achievement Award from Glenn last time. The Lifetime Achievement Award is very rare, and the industry is also guessing who will win the 8th Glenn Lifetime Achievement Award. The manager nodded, I naturally believe in your vision, let's go back to the hotel first. Here, outside King de Grand Theatre. SI fucking easily avoided the media reporters from various countries and came to the front of the car. Miss SI, Brother Ju is going to deal with some business, and I will come back with you in 2 days. Shenying said, I will take you back to the hotel first. And SI fucking nodded, do you need my help? If Brother 9 can't solve it, he will definitely contact Miss SI. Shenying turned the steering wheel, Brother 9 needs Miss SI very much. SI Fu tilted his chin and blinked, as long as he needs me, I will be there whenever he is called. Shenying paused, and while driving, he carefully relayed SI fucking's reply to Yu Zion. Then he successfully raised his wages, and he could save a few takeaways. The speed of the car was steady all the way, but there were fewer and fewer cars around. When it came to an intersection, something happened suddenly. Stab. The 2 cars made sharp turns from the 2 intersections on the left and right, and rammed into the car where SI fucking was. Shenying's expression changed, and he turned the steering wheel violently. But at this moment, 2 more cars appeared in the front and rear. Attack from all sides. Boom. The 4 wheels of the car were scrapped along the way, and the body was also dented. SI fucking's expression was calm, with a stern look in her eyes. She said lightly, Shenying, let's get out of the car. At the same time, several people got off the car that hit them. They all wore onmyoji robes, with the word Fujiyama embroidered on the left chest. Miss SI, the leading young man, bowed to her, politely, the Fujiyama family is here to invite you. He glanced at Shenying standing in front of SI Fukin, and smiled slightly, if Miss SI doesn't want to cause unnecessary casualties and implicate others, we sincerely advise Miss SI not to resist. The goal of the Fuji-shan family is only SI fucking, if other people don't look at him, the Fuji-shan family doesn't mind sending him to hell. Shenying SI fucking smiled slightly, the Fuji-shan family invited me to be a guest, you can go back by yourself, I believe their driving skills are not too bad, right? Shenying's eyes changed, Miss SI. Si fucking has already stepped forward. I heard that Fujiyama's family has a big business. I want to eat fried chicken nuggets unique to Dongsang. Is that okay? The young man pressed the headset, apparently communicating with his family members. A few seconds later, he smiled again. Miss Si is a distinguished guest, and we will naturally accommodate your request. Okay. Si fucking waved to Shen Ying, and followed the onmyojis into the car. The car drove out quickly and left the city center. Si fucking opened his eyes. Nobody. Miss Si is very calm. The young man turned his head, with an inquiring look in his eyes. I'm curious why you are so calm. The Fujiyama family is the absolute overlord of Dongsang. No matter how popular Si fucking is as a female star, she is still an ordinary person in the secular world, and she is not afraid at all. Is it too naive and stupid, or is it that the ignorant is fearless? Si fucking squeezed her wrist, and in the next second, her fingers protruded like lightning, instantly pinching the young man's throat. She smiled. I didn't look for you, but you took the initiative to look for me. I also want to know why you did this. I went to the hospital for a temporary emergency. Sorry for the late update, Kak. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 462. Si fucking can probably guess one or two reasons why the Fuji-shan family came to her suddenly. In addition, she also learned from Ji Xingzi that Fujiyama Jinja had left the customs. Fujiyama Jing is also the second mastermind to plunder her luck, and this time he is eyeing her again, so he should also know that she has withdrawn her luck. Make a good calculation. Under the young man's gradually frozen eyes, Si fucking tilted his head and kicked the door violently, pulling the whole car with great force. With a sound of stab, the car slammed into the tree in front of it. Si fucking pressed the young man's head with the other hand, and pressed it hard to the ground. Boom. The young man's eyes went black for an instant, and severe pain came from his head and swept his whole body. The blow was so powerful that the young man passed out without even screaming. Si fucking stepped on his breastbone, and slowly turned his head. The sudden change shocked the several onmyojis who were traveling together. They had no time to react, and their expressions were shocked. You are actually an onmyoji. It is true that the Tao of Yin-Yang and 5 elements originated in Daxia, but now Dongsang is the real Heyday. The Ji family retreated from the world. Where did Si fucking, a female star, learn from? Why didn't they see it just now? But now there is no time for them to think. Si fucking withdrew his foot and turned his head. Don't be afraid, my hands are always quick and precise, and it won't hurt too much. I know which part can kill with one blow. Big words, and onmyoji sneered. So what if you know onmyoji? You're just one person. There are 6 of them, and they can't deal with a little girl. Si fucking moved his wrist, and said lightly, is that so? She clenched her palms into fists and rushed forward at an extremely fast speed. Boom. Bang bang. Complete naked hand-to-hand combat, ruthless and violent. The 6 onmyojis didn't even have time to perform onmyoji, and all fell to the ground. The last onmyoji was also dealt with, and the surroundings were silent. Si fucking Spack did not relax, it was still tense. She said coldly, come out. Suddenly, someone came out of the darkness. This is a very young face, but there is a heavy old look on him. It seems that I underestimated you. The man smiled slightly. Daughter of Luck is indeed a daughter of luck, and she has learned a few visible yin and yang techniques in such a short period of time. If you can deal with the little guys from my Fujiyama family, do you think you can escape from my palm? Fujiyama Shizuya. Si fucking narrowed his fox eyes lightly. She couldn't see through Fujiyama Shizuya's cultivation, so he must have surpassed the yin-yang celestial master. Her strength has not fully recovered, and it is not enough to deal with Shizuya Fujiyama. I thought it was someone who taught you to enter the entertainment industry to take back your luck. Fujiyama also said, I didn't expect you to comprehend the 5 elements of yin and yang, acting career, esports games, there should be other fields, alas, the sky will never stop you. I fucking didn't show any look of fear, giving my luck to the Zhou family, what good will it do you? I also did it out of interest, and the person you should take revenge on is not me. Fujiyama also shook his head, I just picked up a leak, you should find that God if you want to find it, but he robbed you 9 times. Good luck, but I guess, you are about to take it back, right? I fucking shook her fingers, calculating the gap between her and Fujiyama Shizuya. I can help you recover your luck faster. Fujiyama Shizuya folded her hands behind her back, as long as you stay at Fujiyama's house, how about this exchange? Then you eat away at my luck. I fucking smiled, yin-yang art is so developed, it doesn't matter if you do something immoral, you can recreate your face even if it's gone, what are you afraid of? Fujiyama also darkened, his eyes were cold. After a while, he sighed, since the negotiation failed, I can only force you to stay. Don't worry, I won't kill you. If you kill you, you won't have a steady stream of luck. The Fujiyama family will take good care of the daughter of luck, this time his yin and yang skills are more refined, and he will never repeat the mistakes of the Zhou family. At the same time, at 10 o'clock in the evening, the nightlife in Qingdu officially began. Yuan Mingqi also has the habit of going to bars. After he came out of the house, he randomly found a quiet bar on the map and prepared to go there. He stopped suddenly and turned around abruptly. It was a huge advertising screen. The advertising screen is playing the new promotional video of the Oracle, and Si fucking's identity is not only the spokesperson, but also the God of Nine. Yuan Mingqi stared intently at the huge advertising screen, with the majestic yin-yang and 5-element forces rolling on his body, and the surrounding trees were trembling. This soul breath. Yuan Mingqi's pupils shrank suddenly, and for the first time there was a look of near horror in his brows and eyes. That's right, you can't go wrong. It's junior sister. Yuan Mingqi could clearly feel that his junior sister's soul was more pure and concise than before. But she was obviously impacted by such a big explosion. The explosion was so big that it directly destroyed the entire Intercontinental Research Institute, and even caused serious radiation. It took a full year for the radiation to completely dissipate under the efforts of many researchers and evolutionists. Today's Intercontinental Research Institute was rebuilt after the disaster, and the explosion also destroyed some experimental orphans, causing the science and technology owned by the Intercontinental Research Institute to go back 10 years in an instant. Some orphans can be remade, but the anti-gravity armor in Si fucking's hands has not been able to continue to study further. Not only the Intercontinental Research Institute suffered a serious loss, but also the Top of the Cloud. Top of the Clouds did not announce the death of the 9 disciples to the public, they kept this secret, otherwise it would cause an uproar. But the little junior sister is not only alive now, but her soul is stronger? What's going on here? With Yuan Mingqi's attainments in yin-yang and 5 elements, it is impossible to judge what Si fucking has experienced. Little junior sister is not the original face, but the soul has not changed. He will never admit his mistake. Yuan Mingqi's eyebrows were full of surprises, and he didn't have time to think too much, so he immediately went to the hotel where the Wuzhu team was staying. Not long after the opal ceremony ended, Jingzhou and his team hadn't left Qingdu, and because they successfully won the championship, they not only fulfilled their esports dream, but also increased their commercial value by more than 10 times. Jingzhou glanced at the time. Did Miss Si go to the 9 Heavens Award ceremony today? Why haven't you come back yet? There may be entertainment, Captain, Miss Si is really good. The team member sighed, look at her filming a scene in the entertainment industry, she won the 9-day award and the Opal Championship by the way. Zhang Changfeng. Good one casually and by the way. What's the matter, Sci-fi's behavior style is so contagious. Several people were talking, when the knock on the door sounded, accompanied by the clear voice of the young man. "Excuse me, is Miss Si there?" When everyone turned their heads, they saw a face as delicate as jade. The young man's phoenix eyes are warm and moist, with a smile on his lips, giving people a very strong sense of affinity, and people can't help but be intoxicated by his smile. Zhang Changfen narrowed his eyes slightly, and he could feel the unusual aura about this young man. Eternal player. And definitely an advanced player. Zhang Changfeng took a step forward and looked at Yuan Mingqi. "Hi, may I ask who you are?" "My surname is Yuan, and I'm Miss C's old friend." Yuan Mingqi smiled lightly. "She hasn't come back yet? Then I'll wait here." Zhang Changfen nodded. "Since she is Miss C's old friend, I'll call her and ask her." Yuan Mingqi's phoenix eyes lit up slightly. "Okay. He should be the first to find junior sister, right? You can show off when you go back." Zhang Changfen dialed Sci-fi's number, but there was only a cold mechanical tone from the system, reminding him that the other party was not in the service area. "Brother, I suspect that something happened to SISI at this time." Zhang Changning came down from upstairs. "She suddenly sent a message asking me to leave first. She didn't finish the rest of the sentence, and pressed it on the tip of her tongue. As if being stared at by something terrifying, his body was chilling. Zhang Changfeng stood in front of Zhang Changning, resisting the pressure from Yuan Mingqi for her, with a cold voice. "What do you mean, Your Excellency?" "Sorry." Yuan Mingqi narrowed his eyes and said slowly, "I lost my composure. Please wait a moment, gentlemen." As soon as he finished speaking, a talisman paper floated in the air. Zhang Changfeng's expression froze. "On Myoji. It has reached the level of returning to nature, and people can't feel any fluctuations in the power of yin-yang and 5 elements. If it wasn't for Yuan Mingqi's sudden move, Zhang Changfeng would only think that he was an ordinary boy next door." The talisman gradually turned red. Red represents that the tracked target is in danger and life-threatening. Yuan Mingqi frowned, and he raised his hand lightly. In the next second, the talisman paper burned out, but the ashes did not fall to the ground. Instead, under the control of the power of yin-yang and 5 elements, 4 characters gradually formed in the air. Fujiyama Shizuya. Zhang Changfen was well informed, and he blurted out, "Fuji-shan, that yin-yang family." Yuan Mingqi raised his head. Only the horrifying cruelty remained in the clear water-like pupils, and a layer of haze shrouded the delicate eyebrows and eyes. He murmured softly, with a deep and sinister smile, "The Fujiyama family is doing great." "Sixth, you really can't do it?" "In fact, the 3rd senior sister and the 5th senior brother can recognize each other because they are not relying on seeing people." 23,333. 6th senior brother? Bully me. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 463. Several people in Jingzhou were already in a daze. These yin and yang techniques performed by Yuan Mingqi completely surpassed all their cognition. Dongsang was prevalent in the way of yin and yang and 5 elements, and they also visited several famous temples in Qingdu, where they were dragged to do fortune-telling and see faces. But none of them can compare with Yuan Mingqi. This is simply an unrivaled child prodigy. "I'm bothering you, gentlemen." Yuan Mingqi squeezed his fingers, and the paper dust completely dissipated. He said lightly, "Please wait for me a moment, gentlemen, I will come as soon as I go." Zhang Changfen was still calm. "Did the Fujiyama family take Miss Si away?" "Mr. Yuan is going to." Yuan Mingqi smiled, like clear water, but what he said made people shudder. "I'm going to kill someone." There are not so many rules in the world of yin-yang and 5 elements. Whoever has a hard fist is the rule. He came to Qingdu this time to participate in the exchange meeting of the yin-yang and 5 element realms, and he had no intention of getting involved with the 4 great yin-yang families in Dongsang. The power of yin and yang and the 5 elements are prone to riots, and he has been cultivating himself for the past few years, and he hasn't seen blood for a long time. Freedom Continent also has regulations that cannot interfere with the development and operation of other regions, otherwise it will be subject to a ruling. But the Fujiyama family should never have paid attention to their little junior sister. Yuan Mingqi didn't stay too long. He stretched out his hand again, summoned his natal Shikigami, and said lightly, "Go." A spirit body floated out instantly. At the same time, his figure also disappeared like a ghost. The people in the living room were left looking at each other. Zhang Changfeng has always known that Sci-fi has a close relationship with Liberty Island. After all, Ghost Hand Doctor is an advanced player of eternity. But Liberty Continent also has a strict division of forces, and the top of the cloud is undoubtedly the first. And it is said that the 9 disciples on the top of Yunqian Mountain are difficult to get in touch with, and each of them has a strange temperament. What is the relationship between Sci-fi and Yuan Mingqi? What made him lose his composure? Zhang Changfeng squeezed the center of his eyebrows, with a solemn expression. "Ning Ning, you go to rest first, we can't interfere in this matter, protect yourself, and don't make trouble for them." Zhang Changning nodded, still worried. At the same time, Shenying was also contacting Yu Xian. It was not connected until the 7th call was made. The man's breathing was a little heavier than usual, and after a pause, he said, "Hello." Shenying breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that Brother Ju has already dealt with that group of people. Shenying briefly recounted what happened before, with an anxious voice. "Ninth brother, can you make it back?" The Fujiyama family can indeed be said to be covering the sky with one hand in Dongsang, and the other 3 yin-yang families have to avoid it. Among the people he knows, who can deal with the Fujishan family, only Yu Xian is the only one. But Yu Xian is currently in another coastal city that is 700 kilometers away from Qingdu, and he is afraid that there will be too little time. Yu Xian said, "Well, I see." His voice was flat, without any ups and downs in his tone. But Shenying felt scalp numbness through the phone, and his heart tightened. "Ninth brother." There was only a busy tone on the receiver, and the call was hung up. On the other side, to the east of Qingdu, is the Xiaochuan family. The night is dark, the stars and the moon are bright. The Xiaochuan family was silent, and the Onmyoges followed this opportunity to practice. Shua. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared. It was an old man with white hair and beard. He stood on the eaves, looking up at the vast Milky Way star sea. Seeing the old man, the great elder was shocked and blurted out in shock, "Old ancestor." The ancestor of Xiaochuan's family is already 134 years old. Onmyoji's lifespan can reach this height is not much. The ancestors have been in seclusion all the time, and rarely come out. Why did they suddenly leave the seclusion? Patriarch Xiaochuan immediately stepped forward, knelt on the ground, and bowed. "Old ancestor, why did you come out at this time? But is there anything important to tell this junior?" The old ancestor looked dignified, and his eyes kept changing. He didn't answer this question, but asked sharply, "What's going on? Who offended the emperor's fate, Zai Wei's luck? Who is it? Who is so bold?" As soon as these words came out, Patriarch Xiaochuan and several elders became horrified. They are Onmyoges, so they are naturally aware of the power of emperor's fate and Zai Wei luck. The great elder couldn't help but lose his voice. Is there still an emperor's destiny? The fate of the emperor is a person who is born to be a king, but now it is no longer the ancient times of gold and iron horses. No, not only. The ancestor's expression changed again. there is another piece of luck. It's so huge. It's all in Kingdu. Patriarch Xiaochuan and several elders looked at each other in blank dismay, and couldn't help but turn pale with shock. Old ancestor, what should we do? It has nothing to do with our Xiaochuan family. The ancestor shook his head. We have kept our own law and order all these years, and we have never done anything harmful to nature. If there is a grievance, there is a debtor. As long as we have a clear conscience, we will never look for us. He took a deep breath. Recall the outsiders, and the others stay in the family and don't go out. I'll go and have a look. Patriarch Xiaochuan wiped his sweat, and cursed inwardly. I don't know which thing without eyes has provoked one Buddha after another, damn it. At this time, the Fujiyama family. On both sides of the road, all the Onmyoji bowed deeply to Shizuya Fujiyama, who had returned. Congratulations to Senior Jingye for bringing back the daughter of luck. Senior Shizuya, please help my Fujiyama family soar. There was unconcealable excitement on their faces, and their eyes kept turning around. Fucking spotty, their eyes were extremely hot. This is the daughter of luck. Whether their Fujiyama family can rush into Liberty Island in one fell swoop depends entirely on whether the move can be successful. Fujiyama Jing also said lightly, I want to arrange the formation, and no one is allowed to enter until the formation is formed. Patriarch Fujiyama's expression was serious. Sure, Jing, also rest assured that no one will disturb you. He ordered the guards to guard the courtyard, cleared out all irrelevant people within a radius of 50 meters, and asked the housekeeper to send Fucking's materials to the study. In just a few minutes, all the information about Fucking had been placed in front of Patriarch Fujishan. The context of this information is clear, and the timing is also very clear. But Patriarch Fujiyama always felt that there was something strange, but he couldn't tell. But Fucking really didn't have anything to do with the circles of Onmyoji or evolutionary, he was indeed an ordinary person. Patriarch Fujiyama felt relieved. Soon, their Fujiyama family will become very prestigious. In the courtyard, Fucking looked calmly at Shizuya Fujiyama's formation. She raised her eyebrows. Luck transfer formation. If you enter my Fujiyama family, you will not be able to get out. Fujiyama Jing was non-committal. You are an Onmyoji, and your talent is not bad, but it is a pity that you are not from my Fujiyama family, otherwise I would not have to transfer your luck. If his Fujiyama family gave birth to a daughter of luck, there would be no worries for 3 or even 100 generations. Fucking raised his head and said slowly, who told you that I'm just an Onmyoji? The power of yin-yang and 5 elements in her body was taken away and replaced by another force. Boom. Crack. The stone table suddenly fell apart, and the broken stones flew towards Shizuya Fujiyama. He raised his head suddenly, his expression changed suddenly. Evolutionary. It is actually not rare for an evolutionary to also practice Onmyoji, and there are a few in the Fujiyama family. But there are too few like Kukaki Minjio, and most of the concurrent practitioners are very ordinary. Fujiyama Jing can also see that Fucking's talent in evolution is not bad. As expected of a daughter of luck, Fujiyama Shizuya's eyes were filled with murderous intent. So, I can't let you leave. I have been practicing hard for so long, and you are too young to be my opponent. While setting up the formation, he fought against Fucking. Outside. Third Elder, I heard that Jingyi successfully brought back the daughter of luck. He has made great contributions, a middle-aged man said with a smile, as expected of Jingyi. The third elder was very relieved. He stroked his beard and said, Jing is also a rare genius in my Fujiyama family in 100 years. When he successfully transfers the luck of the daughter of luck, he must celebrate it. Celebrate, there was a low laugh, celebrate with your blood. The sudden appearance of the voice changed the expression of the third elder. He stood up suddenly, and before he could turn around to check, a cold hand pinched his throat. The middle-aged man sitting opposite him turned pale with shock. Third elder. The elders of the Fujiyama family are all composed of yin and yang masters. Who can control a yin-yang celestial master within a second? Yuan Mingqi smiled and asked, "Are you the third elder?" The third elder's face was blue and purple, and it was difficult to say, "Your Excellency, what is your Excellency?" Yuan Mingqi is famous far and wide, but not everyone has seen him. In the eyes of the third elder, he was just a clear boy next door. But that smile was like an evil ghost in the underworld, tearing people's liver and gallbladder. "Okay, let's start with you." Yuan Mingqi tilted his head slightly, and he said flatly, "Baki." The natal Shikigami appeared, and the cold breath enveloped the three elders. This is a monster with 8 heads and 8 tails, with red eyes and a terrifying appearance. The eyes of the third elder suddenly widened. "Yaki no Orakai. You are Yuan. Before he could finish the rest of the sentence, his life was swallowed up by Yuan Mingqi's Shikigami. In the blink of an eye, a yin and yang celestial master fell silently. The middle-aged man was only a 5th rank onmyoji, so he was scared out of his wits. He collapsed on the ground and yelled in fear, "Don't come here! Don't come here!" Yuan Mingqi glanced at him indifferently, and walked straight over. The middle-aged man survived the catastrophe, but he didn't have any luck. He tilted his head and passed out instantly. There was a lot of movement here, and even an elder died, which directly alarmed the guards and Patriarch Fujiyama. Seeing that the third elder had lost his breath, Patriarch Fujishan was shocked and angry. Who wants to be an enemy of their Fujiyama family? What a guts! Yes, it's a young man, a young onmyoji said with a trembling voice. His Shikigami is Yamata no Orakai. No one is his opponent, and he has already killed Shizuya senpai. Patriarch Fujiyama shrank his pupils. Yamata no Orakai is a powerful god of disaster above Dongsang Begui, and it is extremely powerful. This life Shikigami is the only one of Yamata no Orakai. Yuan Mingqi, the 5th disciple on the top of the cloud. Apart from him, there is no second person. It's not that after the awakening talent of the onmyoji, the natal Shikigami was also Yamata no Orakai, but this onmyoji couldn't bear the power of Yamata no Orakai at all, and exploded to death directly. Patriarch Fujiyama's expression changed drastically. How could they mess with Yuan Mingqi? With Yuan Mingqi's cultivation base, he wouldn't take them seriously, so why would he kill them directly? Yuan Mingqi did go directly to Fujiyama's house. After he killed 7 yin-yang masters in a row, no one dared to stop him. He doesn't need to ask for directions, he has his own Shikigami guidance. Soon came to the practice place of Fujiyama's Shizuya. Yuan Mingqi was indifferent, and ordered again, "Baki." Boom. The solid stone gate was torn apart at this moment, and only the last step of the luck transfer formation was destroyed. Fujiyama-jing also frowned. The formation was interrupted, and he also suffered backlash. With a poof, he spat out a mouthful of blood. On the other side, Sci-Fucking was seriously injured. She swallowed the fishy sweetness in her throat, and breathed slowly. With her current strength, she is still somewhat powerless to deal with Fujiyama's Shizuya. No matter how good-tempered he is, he would be furious when he was interrupted at a critical moment. He shouted angrily, "Who? Didn't I say not to come in at this time? Are you courting death?" It is extremely difficult to arrange the luck transfer formation. Once it is destroyed, a lot of materials are lost, and there is no way for the Fujiyama family to gather quickly in a short time. Fujiyama-jing was also extremely angry. He turned around and was about to make a move, but when he met the young man's eyes, his expression changed drastically. "Yuan." He only had time to utter a word. Yuan Mingqi didn't even look at him, and only gave orders to the natal Shikigami. "Baki." Yamata no Orakai launched an attack. Fujiyama-jing was also hit hard, vomited 3 more mouthfuls of blood, didn't come up in one breath, and passed out directly. In the entire courtyard, only Sci-Fucking and Yuan Mingqi were left. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 464. Previously, he only judged from the video, and Yuan Mingqi was also afraid that he would make a mistake, in case something happened. But even if it is 1/10,000th, the little junior sister is worth it. Seeing the real person now, Yuan Mingqi can completely confirm it. It is indeed the little junior sister. Not the same face, much less the same body, but the same soul. Compared with that time 4 years ago, the little junior sister now gave him a more real feeling, as if her soul had been sublimated and she was finally complete. But no matter what, this is their little junior sister. Yuan Mingqi let out a breath slowly, and his body that had been tensed all the way finally relaxed. He touched the head of Yamata no Orakai, and said softly, "You recognize it too? Go, heal Xiaju first." Yamata no Orakai put away its attack form and turned into a miniature snake. It made a hissing sound and floated towards Saifu. Suddenly seeing a cute creature with these 8 heads and 8 tails appearing in front of her, Sci-Fucking was startled. She opened her eyes vigorously, a little uncertain, baking. The 8 heads of Yamata no Orakai nodded, and barked a few more times. It looked very well behaved, and it was completely devoid of the viciousness it had when it devoured the soul of the third elder. Then, it stretched out one of its heads, rubbed against the girl's palm, and began to heal her. Sci-Fucking felt that she regained some strength, and her mind gradually cleared up. She is the only one with 5 senior brothers who can tame Yamata no Orakai to become a Shikigami Onmyoji. Sci-Fucking raised his head, and his vision finally became clear. At the same time, one hand supported her to stand up. Under the cherry blossom tree, the petals were flying. Yuan Mingqi smiled at her, without any words, just called her simply little junior sister. Familiar address, familiar tone. Just like how she worshipped on the top of the cloud many years ago, that's what he called her. Yuan Mingqi was originally a famous handsome man in the Free State, always smiling and calm, even before Mount Tai collapsed. But at this moment, his eyes were red, his eyes were also black and blue, and he was a little more tired. Sci-Fucking had never seen Yuan Mingpond like this before. Her body shook, and she muttered, "Fifth senior brother." "It's me." Yuan Mingqi's eyes also moved. He raised his head, and then forced the sore feeling back into his eyes. After a pause, he smiled slightly, like clear water flowing through the field, clear and moving. "Fifth senior brother found you, junior sister." The length of 4 years suddenly disappeared at this moment. Sci-Fucking blinked, and laughed lowly, "You are so powerful, surely no one can pretend to be you." Yuan Mingqi also laughed, with a gentle voice, "Of course. Although the strength of senior brother is higher than that of Yuan Mingqi, it is far more difficult to pretend to be Yuan Mingqi. A powerful Onmyoji can even recondense the body." "Let's go, this is not a place to talk." Yuan Mingqi asked Yaki Orakai to carry Sci-Fucking on his back, and lifted Fujiyama's Shizue up with his own hand. Relying on their superb yin and yang skills, the two quickly left Fujiyama's house and came to a secluded pavilion. Yamata no Orakai wagged his tail and put Sci-Fu down, and returned to his miniature state. "What's going on?" Yuan Mingqi frowned, and then asked, "Why were you suddenly found by the Fujiyama family?" "Because I am the daughter of luck." Sci-Fucking briefly explained, "They want to use my luck for their own use." As soon as these words came out, the aura on Yuan Mingqi's body instantly turned cold. What courage! Junior sister was very lucky in the past, but no one dared to call her attention. Anyone dared to be so presumptuous now, and it really didn't kill enough. "Did you see me at the exchange meeting that day?" Yuan Mingqi took a deep breath, with anger hidden in his brows and eyes. "Why didn't you come to me directly?" You think I can't see that you plan to use is it a yin and yang technique that hurts both sides? The reason why Fujiyama Shizuya was stunned by Yamata no Orakai with one blow was also because he was already injured. Sci-fucking is currently only a celestial master of yin and yang, but he can push Fujiyama Jing, who has a higher level of cultivation, to this point. He is worthy of being their little junior sister. There was a momentary silence in the air, and after a long silence, Sci-fucking said slowly, "I doubted you." Yuan Mingqi was startled, and his expression gradually became serious, because I am an onmyoji, and I understand the soul better. Yes, Sci-fucking said in a low voice, "I'm sorry, fifth senior brother." After confirming with Yuejian that the explosion might be man-made, she first suspected that it was Yuan Mingqi, because Yuan Mingqi is an onmyoji, and she can do it quietly. "No, you don't need to say sorry to me." Yuan Mingqi's eyes gradually became sharper. "This proves that the explosion you experienced was intentionally done by someone, and not everyone in Shimen can believe it. Even if he was nice to you before, you have to be vigilant." Sci-fucking's fox eyes curled up. "Understood, fifth senior brother." "It's good to know," Yuan Mingqi said. "If you have any troubles in the future, don't ask fifth senior brother." He turned his head, baking. The miniature Yamata no Orakai instantly recovered its fighting form and let out a roar. Sci-fucking. Why is her fifth senior brother suddenly so dark-bellied? It must have been spoiled by the second senior brother. At the same time, Yuan Mingqi began to check all the suspicious characters in his mind. His brows were tightly frowned. No one can match the number. Although Sci-fucking was the latest to start, she was already 15 years old when she entered the top of the cloud, unlike them who were all picked up by their masters and lived and practiced in the top of the cloud since they were young. But they all cherish the new junior sister Ju and are willing to teach her everything. He also taught her a lot of yin and yang in eternity. Little junior sister is a relative to him, and no one can hurt him. Fifth senior brother, can you deduce why I use the corpse to return my soul? Sci-fu frowned slightly, and I feel that this body is mine, which is very strange. Our theory of yin-yang and 5 elements emphasizes that people have 3 souls and 7 souls. Yuan Mingqi pondered for a moment. Why can you borrow a corpse to revive your soul? It's not that simple. There are many stories in the history of returning the soul from a corpse, but in fact, the so-called returning from a corpse in the yin-yang and 5 elements realm is that Yu-Fuling temporarily puts on a corpse that has not been dead for a long time, and it cannot last too long. After all, it is not his own body, and the degree of fit is too low. But when he saw Sci-fu, he didn't feel rejected by his body in the slightest. "I will check, I will send you back first, your friend should be waiting." Yuan Mingqi withdrew his thoughts. His expression was serious. "Junior sister, you can trust me." Yes, Sci-fu smiled. "If there is any trouble, I won't let fifth brother sit idle." "Okay." Yuan Mingqi took out his mobile phone. "Tell your friends first, don't let them worry, and let Beiki see if there are any hidden injuries after returning." The time went back 10 minutes, and when Patriarch Fujiyama and the remaining elders rushed over, there was only the destroyed formation left in the yard. There were pools of blood on the ground, and Fujiyama Shizuya and Sci-fucking had disappeared. The great elder's expression changed, and he said angrily, "This Yuan Mingpond came here to snatch the daughter of luck." He also said that he was a gentleman, but he was just a despicable and shameless villain. But there is nothing the great elder can do if he gets angry again. Yuan Mingqi is no one they can offend, and they have to give in whatever Yuan Mingqi wants. The great elder looked gloomy. "Great elder, patriarch, something is wrong." Suddenly, a guard rushed to report, "Someone has entered the Fujiyama family." Patriarch Fujiyama turned pale with shock. "Yuan Mingpond is here again." "No. Not Yuan Mingqi," the guard stammered. "Yes, yes." There is no need for the guards to say that Patriarch Fujiyama and several other elders have already seen it. The man came through the night, holding the throat of a yin and yang celestial master in his hand. He said lightly, "A mere yin-yang celestial master." This sentence was like a thunderbolt, and everyone in the Fujiyama family was shocked in place. It is too difficult to train a celestial yin and yang master. Not only does the yin and yang master need to have talent, but resources are also indispensable. Who is this man? He is clearly not an onmyoji. The great elder looked horrified. S-level evolutionary. Only S-level evolutionists have such strength. In just a few hours, the Fujiyama family was blood-bathed twice. This is the first time in the 1,000-year history of the Fujiyama family. The great elder summoned Shikigami and said sharply, "Your Excellency killed my Fujiyama family for no reason." "What do you mean? Where is she?" Uzion finally looked up. "I ask you, where is she?" "Her," the great elder couldn't react for a while. Patriarch Fujiyama's voice trembled. You also want the daughter of luck." Uzion didn't say a word. She opened her palm, and a huge force came, and the fourth elder let out a scream. "Where is she?" Still these three words, without ups and downs. "Your Excellency," the great elder was surprised and angry, "he was with us before, but he is really gone now. Your Excellency wants us to hand over someone, but we really have no one to hand over." Uzion hummed, "Okay." He took a step forward, and more onmyojis appeared. "Your Excellency is only one person. You must know that there is an old saying in your great Xia that two fists can defeat four hands." The great elder gritted his teeth. "There are more than 3,000 onmyojis in my Fujiyama family. Your Excellency, don't think that you alone can resist my Fujiyama family." Uzion raised her eyes and smiled slightly. "A single spark can do nothing to me. We fifth senior brother and your majesty are both so handsome, ask for a monthly ticket for the two beauties to support the arrangement. About the big villain, I haven't written or mentioned it yet. Don't be scared by the reversal of Yinghuang's book, it's meaningless to write the same routine twice QVQ. See you tomorrow." After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 465. It was still the 8 words without any waves, but it was extremely terrifying to the ears of everyone in the Fujiyama family. Comparing the 3,000 onmyojis of the Fujiyama family to a spark of fire, only Tamashi can say it and have the strength to do it. Who is this man? The evolutionary and the onmyoji have always been in harmony with each other, and they will not conflict. When did such an S-rank evolutionary come out of the evolutionary world? He rushed into their Fujiyama house without any explanation. Isn't he really afraid of being judged by the evolutionary alliance? Countless questions kept circling in the great elder's mind, but he couldn't ask any of them. His eyes were tearing apart. Fourth brother. This man actually dared to fight in front of them. Uzion raised her hand again. This time it was the fifth elder who was caught. He asked again, with a cool tone, "Where is she?" Silence, deathly silence. At this moment, the several onmyojis gathered under the order of Patriarch Fujiyama were extremely terrified. There are indeed more than 3,000 onmyojis in the Fujiyama family, but 70% of them are below the 4th rank. These onmyojis may have made achievements in horoscopes, faces, and feng shui, but they basically have no combat power, and even because they have practiced the power of yin-yang and 5 elements all year round, their physique will be weaker than ordinary people. Onmyojis are not good at melee combat, so naturally they cannot compare with evolutionaries who take the direction of fighting. 2 more elders died, both of them were yin-yang celestial masters. The loss of the Fujiyama family was too heavy. But looking at Uzion, he saw that there was no fluctuation, as if nothing could touch him. Still water running deep is the real horror. Patriarch Fujiyama's legs went limp, and he knelt down on the ground with a plop. His body began to tremble. Plop, plop. There was another kneeling sound, and everyone in the Fujiyama family was shrouded in fear and could hardly breathe. The second elder also knelt down and kept kowtowing his head. "My lord. My lord, she is really not at Fujiyama's house anymore. She has already left. I swear to God, I never lied." "Terrible." Patriarch Fujiyama also tremblingly said, "My lord, she was taken away by Yuanmingji. This Yuanmingji was born on the top of the cloud. We are not opponents at all, and we don't know where she was taken by Yuanmingji." He also had an idea of disaster in his heart. If Yuanmingji confronts this mysterious man, both will suffer if they are not dead. And sure enough, after Patriarch Fujiyama finished saying this, a greater sense of oppression came. Some weak onmyojis were forced to fall to the ground. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. 3,000 mortals are like a dream, tossing and turning for another spring, only a shadow alone. The sudden ringtone of the mobile phone broke the calm atmosphere, making everyone stunned, followed by tingling and creeping hairs. Who has the guts to call at this time? But Patriarch Fujiyama and several elders discovered that this man who was so handsome that he turned all sentient beings upside down suddenly suppressed the terrifying aura around him. Uzion glanced at the terrified Fujiyama family members, paused with his fingers before picking up the phone. "Brother Ju, have you gone to Fujiyama's house?" "I'm out, I just finished calling Shenying, wait for me, I'll go find you." Familiar voice. Breathing was not disturbed either. Uzion closed her eyes and let out a slow breath. He only knew that she was in the same situation as him, but he didn't know what happened to her, which caused her strength to decline. The incident happened suddenly, but he was not by her side, so he couldn't bear it even if it happened. "Fine. Okay," he smiled lightly, "I'll wait for you to pick me up. There is a well in the back street of their house I fucking was running, wait for me there, I'll come right away." Yeah. Uzion moved her eyelashes slightly and said, "See you later." At the end of the call, the oppressive atmosphere finally faded away. The man turned around, blood was still dripping down his white fingertips, but he just left like that without noticing it. Everyone in the Fujiyama family couldn't recover at all, their nerves were burning hot, and their hearts were twitching. Yuanmingji struck ruthlessly, but not many people were killed. And this man they have never seen before is the real god of killing. He is obviously a noble and elegant man, yet he is so terrifying when he moves his hands. Tonight, the Fujiyama family suffered 2 bloodbaths, and the high-level combat power was almost wiped out. The great elder suddenly regretted agreeing to Fujiyama Shizui's plan, and imprisoned fucking in Fujiyama's house, using her luck to continuously nourish the whole family. The attractiveness of the daughter of luck is indeed strong enough, not to mention a source of bright pool, but also an S-level evolutionary. I don't know who made the previous call, which saved their lives at a critical moment. Patriarch Fujiyama raised his head tremblingly, half crying and half laughing. "Grand Elder, what about us, what shall we do? With so many high-level combat forces dead, let alone the Fujiyama family rushing into Liberty Island, it is even a question of whether they can still be ranked among the 4 major yin and yang families in Dongsang. The Fujiyama family has been used to being domineering in recent years, and has made many enemies, but because of their strength, these people dare not be angry or speak out. If they knew that the Fujiyama family had fallen into such a situation, how could they not take the opportunity to step on it?" The great elder's face was ashen, and his voice was trembling. "First, let's tidy up here first, and we will discuss the rest of the matter in the long run, and try to hide the news as much as possible." Even so, the great elder also knew that the other 3 families could know that the Fujiyama family had experienced a catastrophe just by looking at the astrolabe. You can't hide it at all. After a while, the other onmyoji stood up supporting each other. Even though they didn't want to admit it, after this time, the hope of the Fujiyama family to soar into the sky was completely shattered. Here, Uzion just left Fujiyama's house. The night is still deep, and the stars and the moon are getting brighter. My lord, at this time, an eager voice sounded from behind him, respectfully, dare to ask my lord, but is the emperor's fate, the owner of Ziwei luck? The speaker is the ancestor of Xiaochuan's family. He chased that powerful luck, and even chased him all the way to Fujiyama's house, and then saw a scene that horrified him. The Fujiyama family was slaughtered. Xiaochuan's ancestors were terrified. If their Xiaochuan family accidentally offended the owner of the emperor's fate, the end would be worse than that of the Fujiyama family. Uzion glanced at him lightly. There was no emotion in this glance, but the backlog was deep. Your Excellency, calm down. The ancestor Xiaochuan shook his body and saluted again. It's just that I watched the stars at night and found that someone who didn't know what to do had offended you, so I came to check. Uzion left without saying anything. After he left, the ancestor Xiaochuan seemed to lose his strength, leaning against the tree next to him and panting heavily. Uzion walked around the back street of Fujiyama's house. Far away, there was a well under a tree. The girl is squatting on the ground. He walked in and saw the moonlight falling on her hair, dyed with a thin layer of silver-white moonlight, hazy and unreally beautiful. When Si heard the footsteps, she immediately patted the ashes on her body, jumped up and ran over. Ninth brother, are you all right? No. Uzion looked at her carefully, paying close attention to every inch of her body. I'm fine, I'm really fine, someone saved me just now. Si lowered his head, feeling very guilty in his heart. I'm sorry for making you worry. Just a few minutes ago, Shenyang called her back, saying that Uzion had already arrived in Qingdu, and it was 90% likely to go to Fujiyama's house. With his temperament, he is usually as calm as water, but at this time, cruel and violent are not enough to describe him. Yet he raised his clean left hand, touched her head, and smiled lightly. You don't need to say sorry to me. If something happens to me, you will come, won't you? Of course. Si frowned, seeing the blood on his hands, but it still hurt you. I'll bandage it for you. She took out the gauze she carried with her and pulled his right hand. Other people's blood is not mine, Uzion said lightly, not caring much. Don't move. Si squeezed his wrist. Your hands cannot be dirty with other people's blood. What a beautiful hand, you say yes. She carefully wiped the blood on his palms and fingers with a serious look. Uzion drooped her eyes darkened. It's clean. Si picked up his hand and looked at it again. There's blood on the clothes too. Go back and wash it. He didn't answer the sentence, but suddenly lowered his head, stared into her eyes, and asked in a low voice, can I hug you? It's about estrus and ending with courtesy. The way of a gentleman is the deepest elegance. Okay. Si was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Wait until I take off the bag, I'll hit you later. She took off her bag, stretched out her arms to hug him, and apologized again. I'm sorry for making you worry. Uzion's body trembled slightly. She has the softness unique to girls, warm and waxy, as light as the evening wind, and as ethereal as white clouds, with a reassuring power. Uzion closed her eyes, and the violent aura in her bones was gradually suppressed. It seemed that only by holding her like this could he feel that she was real. Quiet and beautiful time. After an unknown amount of time, he let go of her and straightened up. Si raised his head. Okay. Yeah. Uzion smiled faintly. Go home. Si stood up and put on his bag. Let's go back. Ning Ning and the others are also waiting anxiously. The other side. After confirming that there was no hidden danger in Si body, Yuan Mingqi let her go. He went to a bar, mixed a few glasses of wine slowly, wiped the long knife he carried with him, changed into new ancient plain clothes, and then started again. The morning light was faint, and a slight white appeared on the edge of the sky. The Fujiyama family is still gloomy. It was in this atmosphere that Yuan Mingqi stepped into Fujiyama's house for the second time. The new attire made him look more like a jade-like youth who walked out of an ancient tome. But in the eyes of the Fujiyama family who saw him attacking with the Yamata no Orokai earlier, he was the real ghost of Wan Quan. The guards carry weapons and their legs are in trembling. Only a few hours later, Yuan Mingqi came again. The daughter of luck has been taken away by him, what else does he want to do? Yuan Mingqi put his hands behind his back, and with a clear smile, he said flatly, "You can't stop me, and I won't take your lives either, so get out." The guards looked at each other, and they all saw the fear in each other's eyes. They were all employed by the Fujiyama family. Now that the Fujiyama family was in decline, they were powerless. As soon as Yuan Mingqi said this, the guards fled away. Yuan Mingqi continued to walk in, he couldn't help being a little surprised. Who broke into Fujiyama's house again after he left? But it doesn't matter, this was originally his plan. At this time, several ancestors of the Fujiyama family were also alarmed and left the customs one after another. With Yamata no Orokai, the god of disaster, they are no match for Yuan Mingqi at all. Yuan Mingpond, the ancestor of the Fujiyama family horse, his eyes red, did you forget that Liberty Island cannot interfere with the affairs of other regions? If you want to destroy my Fujiyama family, do you want to enter the Holy Light Tribunal? The Holy Light Judgment Office is not a place that ordinary people can enter, but anyone who enters will be disfigured after leaving. Even if Yuan Mingqi was the fifth disciple of the top of the cloud, he would not be able to escape the punishment of the Holy Light Tribunal for killing like this. Yuan Mingqi didn't even frown, it doesn't matter. The ancestor of Fujiyama turned pale in shock. Yuan Mingqi is crazy. But at this moment, a cold voice sounded without any emotion. He can't, how do you see me? It was a woman in a tight black battlesuit, carrying a long sword on her back. At this moment, the long sword was unsheathed, the cold light flickered, and a second cold breath enveloped the entire room. This breath gave Yuan Mingqi a familiar feeling. Tian Kanjiun sword. Deadwood and bright moon. Brother 6, not only was I robbed, I lost my partner, smiley face. This world is too cruel for 6th senior brother. Asterisk. Some people say that other powerful Onmyoges can see that His Majesty is destined to be an emperor, but Ching Ching cannot see that it is a bug. I wrote it at the very beginning, and the writing is very clear. Ching Ching is a pure fighting Onmyoji. She is not good at the most basic face, feng shui, and astrology of an Onmyoji. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 466. The surroundings suddenly became quiet. The pupils of the ancestor of the Fujiyama family shrank violently. He has been in seclusion for more than 10 years, and he doesn't know Koimu Minjio. But he knew the sword in Kukaki Minjio's hand. Yuan Mingqi's Shikigami is Yamata no Orokai, who has already suppressed them in terms of talent. Can someone really find Tian Kanjiun sword? Tian Kanjiun sword, Tian Yu Yuzhan and Buletin Du Yu Yahan are collectively known as the three swords of the Age of Gods in Dongsang's inheritance, and they are extremely powerful. The Tian Kanjiun sword is worthy of being the first of the three swords of the gods, symbolizing absolute power and awe. The ancestors of the Fujiyama family also knew that these three divine swords were all in eternal, but no one could find them all the time. Now, the Tian Kanjiun sword appeared. Yuan Mingqi narrowed his eyes and turned his head. With a frosty and cold face, no one can deny her beauty. The Yamata no Orokai next to him also turned around, and the eight head suddenly became excited after seeing the Amakanjiun sword in Kukaki Minjio's hand. Without Gen Mingqi's order, Yamata no Orakai immediately flew towards Kukaki Minjio, while 8 tails were wrapped around the sword in her hand. Kukaki Minjio looked at Yuan Mingchi expressionlessly. "Take it away." Yuan Mingchi raised his eyebrows, he pointed to the sword held by Quanmu Minjio, and suddenly smiled. "Tiankanjiun sword." Kuchimu Minjio didn't speak, and her eyes didn't fluctuate, as if they were frozen, but the murderous intent in her eyes became stronger, almost breaking through the ice. No one would doubt that she is the eldest lady of the Kukaki family, and she can only have such an aura under the influence of years of power. Yuan Mingchi couldn't help being slightly moved by this murderous intent. He finally had enough of watching the show, and moved his mouth, with a warning, "Baki." Only then did Yamata no Orakai reluctantly get down from Tiankanjiun's sword, and it returned to Yuan Ming Pond, and the fighting mode resumed, and the bodies of all the Onmyoges in the Fujiyama family shook again. The appearance of Kuchimu Minjio plunged the great elder into complete despair. "Miss Minjio. My Fujiyama family respects Miss Minjio and has not offended her in any way. What does Miss Minjio mean? The Kukaki family is one of the 3 major evolutionary families. It has the strength to settle in Freedom Island, but it is independent from Freedom Island and is not restricted by the Holy Light Tribunal." Kuchimu Minjio's voice was very cold, and his words were as precious as gold. "The person you touch is my friend." In a word, it directly said that the great elder broke into the ice cave. That daughter of luck is actually related to Kukaki Minjio. The great elder collapsed on the ground, his face was as pale as paper, and layers of cold sweat broke out on his back. If they knew that there were so many people standing behind Sci-fi, how could they capture her? Temporary greed eventually brought disaster to the Fujiyama family. It's over, they're all over. The Fujiyama family faced the Kukaki family, coupled with Yuan Mingchi's absolute suppression of them. Yuan Mingchi narrowed his eyes even tighter. Junior sister's friend? Yuan Mingchi took another look at Kukaki Minjio, then returned to the ancestor of the Fujiyama family, and smiled. "Don't say you didn't do anything, you have already plundered her luck once, and you want to come again. Now that he has found his little junior sister, he will never let these little ants hurt her in the slightest." Yuan Mingchi didn't take another look, turned around, and said in a calm voice, "From today onwards, the Fujiyama family will no longer exist in the yin-yang and 5 elements realms." Kuchimu Minjio held the sword in his arms, and said a rare extra sentence, "Me." Yuan Mingchi twitched his eyebrows, but did not refuse. "Thank you, Kukaki's family will be busy in the future, Miss Minjio can come to me at any time. If he destroys the Fujiyama family, and the accused goes to the Holy Light Judgment, torture will be indispensable." With Yuan Mingchi's order, Yamata no Orakai launched a full-scale attack. All the Onmyoges who have been doing evil for so long these years have all been caught out, and innocent people have not been harmed. In one night, the Fujiyama family that had been in Dongsang for thousands of years was completely destroyed. Kukaki Minjio also found some ordinary people in the dungeon of the Fujiyama family, and the Fujiyama family had done many cruel experiments on these people. Even those who were used to seeing the bloody Kukaki Minjio still felt a little horrified. "It's a vicious method." Yuan Mingchi stood beside her, and he said flatly, "A lot of people have died at the hands of the Fujiyama family over the years." Kukaki Minjio frowned and looked at Yamata no Orakai that was wrapped around her sword again. "Baki is greeting you." Yuan Mingchi raised his eyebrows. "You found the Tiankanjiun sword, you should know that it is the divine sword in the body of the Yaki snake." Kukaki Minjio put away the Amazono cloud sword, and said coldly, "You don't have to show me your Shikigami, and it's useless to me that your Shikigami is Yamata no Orakai. She came to Fujiyama's house only for Sci-fi." Kukaki Minjio ignored the aggrieved Yamata no Orakai, pointed his toes, and the power of the evolutionary surged, and he left quickly. Yuan Mingchi shook his head. "Have a personal temper." He had also heard that there was a highly talented Onmyoji from Kukaki's family, but he had never seen it. "When I saw it today, it was a well-deserved reputation. Yuan Mingqi was thoughtful. No wonder his little junior sister is the daughter of luck. Those with great luck will also attract countless heaven's favored ones to approach. Let's go, Beiki. Yuan Mingqi smiled slightly, maybe there will be many opportunities to meet in the future. He accepted shikigami and turned to leave. Before walking a few steps, the phone rang. Seeing the caller ID, Yuan Mingqi's eyes turned cold for an instant, and when he picked it up, his voice was also cold. What's the matter? The tone of the other party was very formulaic. Why did Mr. Yuan go to Dongsang, and why did he kill someone? Yuan Mingqi stroked his sleeves, casually, because I'm in a good mood, because it's fun. Is there any problem? The other party suddenly fell into silence, not knowing how to ask further questions. Because Yuan Mingqi is indeed such a person. He once performed kabuki performances in a theater in the Free State for 3 consecutive days because of his good mood. Even if the other party knew that the Fujiyama family was destroyed, Yuan Mingqi could not get rid of the responsibility, but Koimu Minjio took the initiative to take this matter on her, and the Holy Light Tribunal had no way to convict Yuan Mingqi. Okay, routine questioning. The other party said, Mr. Yuan must pay attention to his behavior when he is outside. We do not want to arrest Mr. Yuan on any charges. Yuan Mingqi hung up the phone directly and smiled coldly. The action of the Holy Light Tribunal was quick, and the news had already been received in such a short time. Yuan Mingqi narrowed his eyes, and finally retracted the hand that was pressing on the phone. There is a problem with Shimon. He no longer trusts people in Liberty Island. He has to check it himself. The news that junior sister is still alive must not be disclosed to Liberty Continent. The news of the collapse of the Fujiyama family cannot be concealed. The ancestors of the Xiaochuan family saw it with their own eyes, and the Takaizawa family learned about it through astrology. Patriarch Takaizawa quickly found Patriarch Sakai and informed him of the matter. Patriarch Sakai shook his body. Is this really true? It's absolutely true. Patriarch Takaizawa's voice trembled, that Yuan Mingqi killed him alone, and the old ancestors of the Fujiyama family are not his opponents. Sakai Patriarch took a deep breath. Dongsang's yin-yang and 5-element principles were introduced by the ancestors of the Fujiyama family when they went west to Daxia. The background of the 3 of them is naturally worse than that of the Fujiyama family. But now, the Fujiyama family, which ranked first in the world of yin-yang and 5 elements, is gone. Overnight, it is simply unbelievable. Then what reason did Yuan Mingqi say? Patriarch Sakai asked anxiously. You can't just do this for no reason, right? Patriarch Takaizawa was silent for a moment. According to Liberty Island, he did it for fun. Patriarch Sakai was shocked. Fun? Yuan Mingqi has a weird temper and unpredictable temperament. Patriarch Takaizawa said bitterly. The Fujiyama family is gone, we must be careful. Patriarch Sakai nodded solemnly. It's also the Fujiyama family's fault for messing with Yuan Mingqi. The next afternoon, Shizue of Fujiyama, who was stunned by Yamata no Orakai, woke up slowly. But he still has the imprisonment set up by Yamata no Orakai, and the power of yin-yang and 5 elements has also been sealed, making him unable to move at all. When he saw Yamata no Orakai, Fujiyama Jing knew that he had kicked the iron plate of Yuan Ming Pond. Yuan Mingqi looked at him with his hands behind his back. I'm still saving your life, you should know what to do, and if you have anything to say, explain it together. It was related to Sci-fi, so he naturally wanted to investigate clearly. Fujiyama Jing also took a deep breath. Since Master Yuan wants the daughter of luck, I will naturally not fight for it, and I must offer it with both hands. Yuan Mingqi is the 5th disciple of the top of the cloud. He is already very strong, and the stronger is the entire top of the cloud. The Fujiyama family didn't even succeed in settling in Liberty Island, so how could it be possible to confront the top of the cloud? Fujiyama Shizue's fingers trembled. He still didn't plan well. forgetting that he could see that Sci-Fucking was the daughter of luck, and Yuan Mingqi could naturally do the same. He shouldn't have waited until the end of the 9-day awards ceremony to do it, it was too late. Fuji Yamajing was also very regretful, and he kowtowed a few more times. I have absolutely no intention of arguing with Mr. Yuan. If Mr. Yuan needs luck to transfer the formation, I can offer it with both hands. On the top of the cloud, Fuji Yamajing felt fear just by mentioning these 4 words. Give it with both hands. Yuan Mingqi's smile suddenly faded away, leaving only a deep-seated ruthlessness. What, even my junior sister's luck can't be imagined. A 5th-grade child sat next to the high-speed rail. She and I were talking about Conan. I was horrified to find that we have no generation gap on this topic thanks to Gosho Aoyama for serializing it for 27 years. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 467. These words fell like thunder, and with a boom, Shizue Fujiyama's mind was blown blank, and tens of thousands of bees seemed to be hovering and buzzing around his ears. When Yuan Mingqi said these words, he also used the power of yin-yang and 5 elements, and all the coercion went towards Fujiyama Jinja, pressing down like a mountain. As if a giant hammer had hit his chest, Fujiyama Jing was also severely injured, and he spit out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, blood was flowing from his ears, eyes, and nose, and his whole body was in extreme pain, but it still couldn't compare to the shock in his heart. Junior sister? Sci-Fucking turned out to be Yuan Mingqi's junior sister? Fuji Yamajing also kept vomiting blood, with a look of shock and horror on his face. He could understand every word Yuan Mingqi said, but he couldn't accept it at all. Because this is simply impossible. He didn't know what happened before Sci-Fucking was 5 years old, but after that he was very sure that Sci-Fucking lived in Zou's family and only entered the entertainment circle when he was 18 years old. How could he have anything to do with Top of the Cloud? That's the top of the clouds, and it's also a top existence in the free state, so what can Sci-Fucking do? What's more, there are only 9 disciples on the top of the cloud, where is another one? Fuji Yamajing also thought very clearly. He gave the daughter of luck to Yuan Mingqi, and presented the array of luck transfer that he had studied for several years. How could he sell Yuan Mingqi a favor? The world of yin-yang and 5 elements pays more attention to cause and effect, and Yuan Mingqi took advantage of him, so he will help him sooner or later. But he never expected that Yuan Mingqi didn't value the daughter of luck, but because the daughter of luck is a disciple of the top of the cloud. Fuji Yamajing also turned pale, and he collapsed on the ground, shaking constantly. Only now did he know what he did wrong. Yuan Mingqi looked at him condescendingly, and Yamata no Orakai appeared behind him. I'll give you 3 seconds. Fuji Yamajing was also completely frightened. I really don't know anything, he kept kowtow. Blood was streaming from his head, and his voice was dismal. When I met Master Yuan and junior sister, she was already seriously injured. I just deduced that she is the daughter of luck, and wanted to see if I could transfer her luck to someone else. Yuan Mingqi's eyes were even more frightening. He smiled clearly, but it gave off a terrifying feeling. Fujiyama Shizue's body trembled even more. Yes, there is another person who took 90% of her luck. This is going against the sky. I don't know anything else, Gen-sama. Yuan Mingqi didn't speak, his eyes were cold and his thoughts were lost. Forcibly plundering 90% of the luck of a daughter of luck is indeed going against the sky and will be punished by heaven. Have this strength, but not necessarily dare. It seems to be telling the truth, Yuan Mingqi said lightly. Since this is the case, there is no need for you to keep it. Fujiyama Shizue's expression changed drastically, and he kowtowed again. Master Yuan, I made a mistake because of my obsession. I absolutely dare not do it again. In the name of my Fujiyama family, I swear that not only will I not do anything to your junior sister, but I will also protect you with all my strength. She. Please let me go, I will make it up. Oh. Let you go, Yuan Mingqi smiled slightly, the Fujiyama family is gone, I let you go, where are you going to go? Fujiyama Shizue's pupils shrank suddenly, and his voice trembled, no, no. There are still a few old ancestors in the Fujiyama family, so they are gone? Fujiyama Jinja spit out a few mouthfuls of blood again, and laughed miserably, reincarnation of heaven. Reincarnation of heaven. Yuan Mingqi patted Beiki on the head and smiled, Beiki. The 8 tails of Yamata no Orokai mobilized and immediately solved Fujiyama's Shizue. It returned to Yuan Mingqi's side with a slightly aggrieved expression. I don't know where she is either. Yuan Mingqi sighed, when there was no Tiankongyun sword, I never saw you need it so much. He also looked for Tiankongyun sword in eternity, but it was a little bit short. Yuan Mingqi waved his hand, okay, I'll let you see if I find it. Yamata no Orokai calmed down and went back obediently. On the other side, the hotel. Si fucking fell asleep and his body fully recovered. Uzian knocked on the door and came in with a box of snacks, it's still hot, eat some. Si fucking took it over, took one piece for himself, and gave one piece to Uzian. Ningning's craftsmanship is getting better and better, there should be some herbs in it, it's delicious, brother Jew, try it. After eating the last bite of snacks, Si fucking wiped his hands, brother 9, what happened yesterday? You have an unspeakable secret, so I don't ask, everyone has it. Uzian smiled lightly, the important thing is that you are safe, isn't it? Yes, I fucking was startled, and said in a low voice, I will definitely tell you when I find out more about the matter. Even she, Yuejian and Yuan Mingqi don't know how much evil intentions are hidden in the top of the cloud. She couldn't let Uzian be targeted too. I know. Uzian looked at her, her voice lowered, I'm very happy. His light amber pupils were a little darker at the moment, as if a stroke of thick ink had been poured down, rendering them deep and heavy. Beautiful eyes, calm and powerful. Si fucking raised her hand out of nowhere, and when she recovered, her hand had already covered his eyes. Eyelash feathers flicked up and down in her palm, making her feel numb, as if an electric current was flowing on her skin. The temperature is hot. Si fucking immediately withdrew his hand and fell silent. What is she doing? It's just a mere seduction, when did her concentration get so bad? Uzian's expression was stable, without any fluctuations, touch it if you want, don't be shy, after all. He paused, then smiled slightly, the girl has already touched this place. His eyes moved down and landed on his strong waist. Si fucking recalled the reciprocity back then, and said ferociously, I'm not talking nonsense without you. She jumped out of bed, I'm going to exercise. Soon Uzian was the only one left in the room. He boiled a pot of water unhurriedly and started making tea. Shen Ying, who was standing guard outside the door. He suddenly discovered that their 9th brother seemed to have been playing tricks on Miss Si. For a moment, he didn't know whether he should sympathize with Miss Si for being tricked all the time, or whether he should sympathize with their 9th brother for being too slow in trapping people. Si fucking ran for a while in the hotel gym, and received a call from Kukaki Minjiao. The other side got straight to the point, what's the relationship between you and Yuan Mingqi? Si fucking paused for a moment, then said, he and I are. Before finishing the following words, Kukaki Minjiao interrupted again, forget it, I don't care about the relationship between you, I just want to tell you that the Fujiyama family has been expelled. Yuan Mingqi is from Liberty Continent, so it's not easy to come forward directly, so I took this matter on myself. You are very courageous, and you dared to enter Fujishin's house with Fujiyama Jing before your strength recovered. Si fucking said calmly, his target is me. As long as I am sure to die with him, the Fujiyama family will not hurt the people around me. Kuchimu Minjiao paused for a moment, and she said flatly, "You are really strange. You helped me, and I will definitely repay you." As I fucking said, "If there is anything that needs my help, you can just tell me. For example, if there is a patient, I can save it. I have something for you to pay back." Koimu Minjayo's voice was chilly. "You just need to recover your strength as soon as possible and fight me." I fucking fell into silence. Why is everyone around her militant? Something happened, and I can't recover for the time being. I fucking said lazily. "Anyway, Yuan Mingpond is still there, why don't you fight him first?" This time it was Kukaki Minjayo's turn to be silent. I fucking raised his eyebrows. "Why, do you think that Miss Minjayo thinks you can't beat him? His Shikigami is Yamata no Orakai." Kukaki Minjayo said coldly. "You know that the Amakangan sword in my hand was born in Yamata no Orakai, and mutual generation and restraint will prevent me from exerting my full strength. He is also, between us there is no need to fight." Fu rubbed his chin. "Is that so? Why don't you go find the remaining 2 divine swords and fight him again? Budu Yuhan and Tianyu Yuzhan will definitely not be affected by Yamata no Orakai." Beep beep. Kukaki Minjayo hung up the phone. I fucking thought for a moment, then dialed a new mobile phone number she gave Yuan Mingchi yesterday. "Fifth senior brother, did you offend the eldest lady of the Kukaki family?" Yuan Mingchi pressed his temple, seeming a little funny. "Beiki likes the Amakanjayun sword in her hand, and has been pestering her. It has nothing to do with me." No wonder I fucking was stunned. She doesn't like other creatures to be close to her. Yuan Mingchi narrowed his eyes, and said with a half smile but not a smile, "I haven't asked yet, little junior sister, who did you run to find in such a hurry last night?" "My boss," I fucking said lightly. "He is very kind to me. When I just woke up, I was so poor that I couldn't even drink Coke. If it wasn't for him, I would have starved to death. He even gave me a gift just now. For a snack." She cleverly schemed over the things that she took advantage of. Yuan Mingchi nodded and said, "Then I need to thank you personally. For the sake of his little junior sister who dared to break into Fujiyama's house alone, high strength was the second priority. The most important thing was daring. Not everyone can do this. Just the boss." Yuan Mingchi listened to I fucking's cheerful voice, thoughtful. "I'm afraid it's not that simple." After a few seconds, he said slowly, "Junior sister, are you going back to the Great Xia Empire? I just happened to see you off, and next month I'm going back to Liberty Continent to handle some affairs, and the Holy Light Tribunal is following me. It will be difficult to come out again, but we can use yin and yang to connect with each other." "Okay." I fucking nodded. "I have to go back, I still have the college entrance examination." For the first time, Yuan Mingchi suspected that he had misheard. High school entrance examination. He remembered that she was very good at mechanics and electronics. The 4th child opened an electronic high-tech company. Several chips were made by her, and she was also a core researcher of the Intercontinental Research Institute. Go to the college entrance examination? Of course. I fucking said, "I want to set a good example for my fans, give them confidence, and prove that I am worthy of their love." Only then did Yuan Mingchi remember that she is still a star now, and he smiled. "Young junior sister has many fans, which will help you collect luck. I'm going to visit the G family you mentioned too. Let's see if he can try to help I fucking get back the rest of his luck." Yuan Mingchi frowned, searching his mind for an onmyoji who was even stronger than him, but he didn't think of it for a while. He exhaled slowly. Fortunately, he found a little junior sister. He will investigate other matters to the end. The next day, Anken. Nian Yin returned to the Great Xia Empire early after the OPL final. There are less than 3 weeks left before the college entrance examination, and the students are working hard. Ye Zhenmian specially cooked a sumptuous dinner for Nian Yin. "Miss you, you eat too. We've known each other for so long, so don't be polite to us." Okay, Yu picked up the chopsticks and picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs. These days are indeed the most relaxing time for her. Usually, she has too many tasks and drinks nutrients to maintain the characteristics of her living body. Yejenmian's cooking skills are very good, and Yu also enjoys it. Boom boom boom. There was a knock on the door at this moment. Did Ching Ching come back? Yejenmian stood up, very happy. Calculate the time, she will be here by this time, and I just happened to cook a few dishes. Last week, the Dongsang Chaiwan mountain earthquake caused Yejenmian to be very worried. Fortunately, Sci-fi was fine, but her heart kept beating, feeling that something was about to happen. This morning, Sci-fi sent them the flight information, saying that someone would take her back by then, and they could just wait at home. Yuejian squinted her eyes, and slightly clenched her fingers, and yeah, sit down, I'll open the door. She could feel a powerful aura outside the door, but it didn't belong to junior sister. Yejenmian was stunned for a while. Before saying anything, Yuejian had already got up and came to the door, and turned the doorknob. Yuan Mingqi? Yuan Mingqi, am I not the first? See you on the moon, smile. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 468. The door opened in response, and Yu had gathered the power of an evolutionary, ready to attack at any time. In the next second, the four eyes met. Silence, or silence. Inside the door, Yuejian is ready to go. Outside the door, Yuan Mingqi also pinched a talisman paper. Both of them changed their appearance, but they still recognized each other the first time they saw each other. After all, they don't recognize people by eyes. The air seemed to have stopped flowing at this moment, and the atmosphere was stagnant. Yu took a step forward and closed the door first. After a very long period of silence, Yuan Mingqi let out a breath slowly, but was still a little uncertain. Third senior sister. It's Xiao Wu. Yu unfolded her arms and leaned against the door. She raised her eyebrows and said, so Ching Ching said you were the one who sent her off? It really surprised me. Yuan Mingqi rubbed his brows, and smiled helplessly. I was the one who was more surprised, I thought. He thought he was the first to find the junior sister, and he was still thinking about how to find out the aliens from the master's school and at the same time show it off to the other brothers and sisters. In the end, he unexpectedly ran into Yuejian at Sci-fi's house, who was still wearing home clothes. What does this mean? It means that he was snatched away long ago. Although both belong to the top of the cloud, Yuan Mingqi and Yuejian do not have a deep intersection. Yujian is a maverick mystic, and has extremely superb disguise and voice-changing skills. Even if familiar people pass her by, they will not recognize her. Only Tan Jingmo, who is known as the top socialite on the cloud, has a close relationship with her. Why do you still think? Yuejian saw Yuan Mingqi's thoughts at a glance. Her eyebrows were raised higher, and she made a knife slowly. Oh, by the way, you are actually the third to see Xiao Junior sister. We met Lao Lu. Yuan Mingqi could no longer maintain a smile, and a name squeezed out from between his teeth, Raphael Miston. He has already become the third. Yeah, but the sixth one didn't recognize it. Seeing that Yuan Mingqi was a little depressed, Yujian finally praised him mercifully. So you were the second one to find my junior sister. Yuan Mingqi looked at her quietly, but was not comforted by these words. He should be number one. Hey, why do you guys stand at the door and not go in? Sci-fi came up with a suitcase, a little curious. Go in and catch up on the old days. What are you doing standing at the door? Yujian turned around and said slowly, Xiao Wu is jealous that I found you first, and also knew your real name. She is different, but she has a kind of secret comfort. Yuan Mingqi smiled, with a somewhat dangerous smile. Little junior sister, what is your real name? Sci-fi blinked. Oh, Sci-fi, Just search for it on the internet. Yuejian spread her hands, but I know, it was my junior sister who told me. Yuan Mingqi snorted lightly, why, the third senior sister, like me, found the junior sister at a critical moment and saved her from the dire straits. Wait a minute, I fucking said, I think the word dire straits. A little out of place. But she couldn't finish, because there was a murderous look in the not spacious corridor. Xiao Wu wants to fight with me, Yu Jian flexed his wrist, there is a special training ground in the basement, let's go. Yuan Mingqi smiled slightly, that's exactly what I mean, respect is worse than obedience, third senior sister please. Si fucking. They are obviously brothers and sisters who are good brothers and sisters, why did the style of painting suddenly become like this? Stop it, Si fucking immediately stood between the two of them, you two had to tear down the whole building when you two fought. We been tossing about for a few days. Let's go in for dinner first. My aunt is really good at cooking. As soon as he finished speaking, Yu Ji unhooked her shoulders, and moved intimately, I haven't had a chance to save junior sister, but we can talk and laugh together in the bar, Ken Xiao Wu. Si fucking thought to herself, this is obviously nonsense, because before they had time to go to the bar, they ran into the person who was scummed by the third senior sister, and it was still Zero's chief. Yuan Mingqi's smile became even more dangerous. The two seemed to be fighting in the next second. Auntie, I'm back. Si fucking preemptively took out the key to open the door, I want to eat braised fish. I prepared it for you a long time ago. Ye Zhenmian didn't know what happened outside the door, she walked out, is this gentleman a friend of Ching Ching in Dongsang? Yuan Mingqi restrained his aura in an instant, hello madam, my surname is Yuan, you can call me Mingqi. Okay, it's too much to call my wife, Mingqi, you and you can call me aunt together, Ye Zhenmian smiled, since we are Kinking's friends, let's sit down and have dinner together. Yuan Mingqi smiled slightly. The third child got all the family members of the little junior sister. Yuejian was once again stared at by Yuan Mingqi's death, and the smile on her lips deepened, Ching Ching, today I taught your brother how to use the ability of an evolutionary, and he learned it well. Si fucking smiled, third senior sister, you say that fifth senior brother might want to assassinate you. Assassination is assassination. Yu Jian shrugged, I haven't played against Xiao Wu yet, I'm looking forward to it. There was an undercurrent between the two of them, and even Nian Yin, who was eating while brushing the questions, felt something was wrong. He raised his head ignorantly, just in time to meet Shang Yuan Mingqi's gaze. Before Nian Yin had time to greet him, Yuan Mingqi raised his eyebrows and asked him, do you want to learn yin-yang art? I'll teach you, but someone can't teach it? Nian Yin. No, he doesn't want to. There are too many things to learn, and now he just wants to be a salted fish and lie flat. What's the meaning of yin and yang art? Yu Jian clicked his tongue, yin, learn fighting with my sister, and my sister will teach you the technique of close quarters killing. Nian Yin said again. Forgive him. Si fucking confirmed that the two of them would not fight, and then picked up the chopsticks. With a ding, a message from Special Concern came in the phone. Yu Zion, are you home yet? Si fucking, here we are, eating a meal made by my aunt.jpg. Si fucking, brother 9, have you eaten yet? Yu Zion, well, I've eaten, and I'll pick you up tomorrow. Si fucking, I'll wait for you Bixen.jpg. She rested her chin in one hand, and responded to the message with the other. Her whole body was much more lively and buoyant. Yuejian squeezed the chopsticks, and said in a voice that only two people could hear, do you think little junior sister has changed a lot? Yeah. Yuan Mingqi was stunned, and said in a low voice, although she laughed before, the smile was not sincere. Si fucking is even more mysterious than Yuejian, they only know that she seems to have stayed in Eternal Academy for a while. Later, I don't know what happened, as if overnight, something collapsed in her body. During that period of time, she returned to the top of the cloud, locked herself in the room, and spent day and night in eternity, as if she was dying. Although eternity can help them improve their strength, after all, it is connected to human brain waves. If they are too long or injured too much, they will seriously damage their nervous system, and they may never wake up again. Even the senior brother has never trained like this. It's a good thing Yu Jian nodded, at least she is really happy now. Yuan Mingqi agreed. The meal ended smoothly in the end, and Nian Yan immediately said that he was going to study for the college entrance examination questions, and ran away like a fly. Sci-fi arranged a guest room for Yuan Mingqi, and went to the game cabin by himself. Junior sister, you don't have to lie down and sleep in the game cabin as soon as you come back, right? Yuan Mingqi frowned. Although you can indeed restore your physical strength, you will still be tired. With your current physical fitness, it is better not to overtrain. Fifth senior brother, don't worry, I don't train. Sci-fi opened the hatch, I'm going to play the Emperor's cultivation plan. Yuan Mingqi. He really didn't understand much. Today's young people are really more and more good at playing. The next day, Xiata. After the broadcast of the birth of an employee, Wei Chenjiun suddenly became a celebrity in Xiata. He was always asked for his autograph while walking on the road, which is very difficult for a facial paralysis. Chen Wengzhen also gained considerable popularity, only Wu Weiniang's situation remained unchanged. Graduation season is approaching, and many graduates of summer university are taking graduation photos. Wu Weiniang had just returned from taking photos with her roommates, and she looked at her empty left sleeve with a gloomy expression. Wan Ying, you don't need to change your thesis, the roommate envied. You passed both the pre-reading and the blind review, and this defense must have gone well. After they have written their papers, they will be submitted for pre-review reading. In the pre-review, the supervisor contacts an acquainted supervisor to conduct the first dissertation review, gives corresponding opinions, and agrees to the graduate student's defense. After that, it is formally submitted for review, and the formal review is a blind review, and the thesis will be handed over to the tutors of related majors in all universities across the country. If any link is returned, it will lead to a delay in graduation. Wu Weiniang just replied lightly, as long as you work hard, you can do it too. The roommate pouted and said nothing. Wu Weiniang ignored her, and she received a message from Director Li. Director Li, for the defense tomorrow afternoon, senior CAI Zhongqian and professors from international medical organizations will be present, so be prepared and make no mistakes. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 469. Wu Weiniang suppressed her excitement and replied, "Thank you, teacher." The results of her pre-reading and blind review are very good, and there is nothing to improve. There is no doubt that she passed the defense. But her ambitions go far beyond that. If she can be favored by international medical organizations during her defense, her future will be smooth. When the time is right, she can also use her experience on Chaiwan Mountain to sell miserably. In order to investigate wild medicinal materials, she even lost her hand. Wu Weiniang's thoughts were busy, and she had already flown to her wonderful career in the International Medical Organization. Wow, the roommate suddenly yelled in surprise, "Si has a lot of fans in the live broadcast today. Why is she so good?" Hearing the familiar name, Wu Weiniang glanced and saw that the popularity of the live broadcast room had increased by 50 million in just a few seconds. The servers were a little unstable because they couldn't bear such a large traffic load. "Wan Ying, she's really amazing," my roommate excitedly logged into the Oracle, I didn't care about the entertainment industry, but who knew she was 9God? 9God is my idol. It can be said that 9God has a fan board that even the top stars can't compare with. Under the new round of skyrocketing fans, Sci-Fi fans soared to 90 million. These are all living powder. Wu Weining was terribly annoyed. Can I not mention her? Not everyone likes her, it's so annoying. The roommate also got angry and sneered, then I wish you a smooth defense tomorrow and learn how to speak well. Wu Weining said with a cold face, you don't need to tell me. Of course she will respond well. The roommate didn't bother to talk to her and concentrated on watching the live broadcast. In the live broadcast room, Sci-Fi had just brought 7 fans to clear a dungeon, and started a new team, randomly selecting candidates. Ching ching, till take me. I was drawn, I'm so happy. There is one more position, brothers and sisters rush. Just as the fans were still fighting for the last spot in the team, a figure suddenly appeared in the team. The luthier in white is standing with his piano in his arms, with a tall and straight figure. The fans were stunned. Ching ching kicked Jushin out, he took the place of our fans. 9gods, you don't need 9gods to bring it, do you? It's just a copy, and you are still so clinging to her. Dramatic. Yuzian's expression was indifferent, and she didn't intend to quit the team at all. Sci-Fi typed on the keyboard with bright fox eyes, completely ignoring the man beside him, all eyes were on the copy in front of him. She is highly skilled, and she is very interactive with fans when she is a fan, and the fans are extremely happy. With one hand free, Yuzian picked up the teacup and took a sip slowly, while typing with the other hand. Team 9, after playing this one, we have to leave. Team 9, well, let's go. The air suddenly became quiet. The players in the team remained motionless, allowing themselves to be beaten to death by the dungeon monster. A few seconds later, the barrage began to float crazily. Wait, so God 9 lives with 9 gods. Where's the paparazzi? For the first time, I hated the paparazzi for doing nothing. If you can't photograph anything, you still call it a paparazzi. Why don't you quit your job and go home to farm? Smile. It's been so long that no one has figured out who the 9 gods are, and your current class of netizens is not good. Sci-Fi's popularity was so high that almost at the same time, the conversation between her and Yuzian in the game was screenshot and posted on the internet. The hot search exploded instantly. Hashtag 9god 9 gods cohabitation hashtag. Hashtag exposure. Sci-Fi is married in secret. Hashtag 9 gods, I can do it, that figure is a perfect match for baby Ching Ching. My wife is beautiful, no one else can do it. Cohabitation is hidden marriage. What if the family is our own family? Can the marketing account use this kind of words less for gimmicks? Sci-Fi didn't pay much attention to other people's changes. She just killed the boss in seconds and received a call from Sang Yanking. Ching Ching, you're on the hot search. Sang Yanking said, it's not a big deal, but the server is down again. The agent assistant on the side. It seems that Sister Sang's endurance is as hard as iron. It's no big deal if the server crashes. Putting this on the other star teams, a public relations meeting will be held overnight. Sci-Fi, huh? Sang Yanking went on to say, I have already rented out the hot search as an advertising space according to your habit, and made a small profit. The money has already been transferred to your card. Your name has gone international. Buy a few better clothes. Even though you look good in a sack, we can still look better. If you don't know how to choose clothes, ask Mr. Yu to pick them for you. The dresses and necklaces he picks for you are out of the circle every time. You and Mr. Yu have a good time. You don't have to worry about online things. I have it. Only after the call ended did Sci-Fi know what happened. She turned her head and looked at this too handsome man quietly. His side face was soaked in the thin sunlight, dyed with a faint golden layer, showing dignity. Yu Xian turned her head, her brows and eyes became clear at this moment, and her deep facial features became more aggressive. He whispered, "Sorry." He apologized very sincerely, without the slightest perfunctory meaning. Sci stared at his face. Apologizing is useless, you need to take practical actions. It turns out that there are really people who are so beautiful that they can't get angry just looking at their faces. Yu Xian seemed a little funny, he raised his eyebrows. Add year-end bonus, what do you think, girl? That's about the same. Sci picked up Xiaobai and put it in his pocket, patted its fluffy head. Look at how kind dad is to you, and earned you another ration. Xiaobai rubbed Sci's palm, also very excited. Yu Xian left with Sci. After a while, Yuan Mingqi came out of the room, his eyes swept away. Where's little junior sister? Picked up by her boss. Yu Jian stretched her waist. I have something to do in Siju City, and I'll be back in 2 days. Yuan Mingqi squinted his eyes, and his expression was calm. I'm going to Siju City too to find out what happened to Ji Qinggui of Ji's family. Yeah, Yu Jian nodded. This is your specialty, it's all up to you. I'm useless. After you find out, you can call me when you kill someone. Yuan Mingqi's beautiful eyebrows and eyes were full of murderous intent. This matter will not be so simple. With Sci's current situation, they must protect her and prevent people from Liberty Island from discovering her. Yu Ejian frowned. The second child has been investigating for so long, but he still hasn't found anything unusual about the explosion. Yuan Mingqi's expression moved slightly. He can be trusted. Should you tell him the news that junior sister is still alive? Not for the time being, Yu Ejian said flatly. There are too many eyeliners around him. Wait for the little junior sister to recover a little bit, and then discuss it. Yuan Mingqi nodded. All right. He booked a plane ticket with the latest time and flew to Siju City. The next day, at 12 noon, Sci and Yu Xian went to the first hospital of Siju City after lunch. Several attending physicians who had been with the program group in the birth of an employee all knew Sci. Seeing her coming, they all stopped to say hello to her. Miss Sci. Sci waved his hand. If you need my help with anything, you can tell me directly. She bypassed the outpatient department and the inpatient department, and went to Cai Zhongnian's office. Here we come. Cai Zhongnian pushed his glasses, very happy. I haven't asked you what you met in Dongsang. Tell the professor that she is going to study theology. Sci coughed twice. It's nothing, I just met some floating spirits, which are normal things. Cai Zhongnian's expression was stiff. Is normal. He decided to skirt the subject. Graduate students of Xia University will start their defense this afternoon. Here is the judge certificate I applied for you. Cai Zhongnian took out a black stamped cardboard and handed it to her. It's up to you whether you come or not, but she copied it. It's your core idea, and I think it's better if you're there. Sci took the invitation letter, on which were written the words specially invited judges. She accepted. Go for a trip. That's fine. Cai Zhongnian nodded. I heard that you are going to take the Xia University entrance exam this year. Have you decided which college to apply for? Sci calmed down and said, Department of Archaeology. Cai Zhongnian. He hesitated to speak. This major is very hard, and the employment prospects. Speaking of this, Cai Zhongnian stopped, and he sighed. I forgot that you are a celebrity, but why do you want to apply for the Department of Archaeology? Xia University's Department of Archaeology is indeed ranked first in the country, but only 9 students are admitted each year, and they are often dissatisfied with the recruitment, which is transferred from other majors. I want to be closer to history. Sci smiled. I also want to be closer to the idol, to see the traces he left in history. Cai Zhongnian knew that she was referring to Yin Huang, and he looked serious. Okay, I respect your opinion. It's just that SI fucking chose the Department of Archaeology, and that guy Gu Huiyan will definitely show off to him, so he has to make preparations in advance. In the afternoon, Xiata, the postgraduate defense of the Department of Medicine. Yu Tang accompanied SI fucking to the auditorium. She looked left and right, very nervous. Ching ching, I'm only a freshman, and I'm already worried about my graduate defense. Don't worry, SI fucking lazily said, as long as you study hard, you can pass. When the two came to the defense field, they bumped into Wu Weining, who had rushed over alone. Wu Weining was stunned for a moment, with a disgusted expression on her face. Why are you here? If SI fucking hadn't played tricks, how could she have lost a hand? Maybe those unclean things on Chaiwan Mountain were attracted by SI fucking to harm her on purpose. Wu Weining's dislike for SI fucking has reached a fixed point. As a star, he just stays in the entertainment circle. Why does he always like to get involved in other fields? Wu Weining didn't play Oracle, so she couldn't understand that SI fucking was just a game master. How could he cause such a big sensation? No matter how good SI fucking is in acting and esports, it won't work for her. Don't you really think that you are also a doctor after participating in a variety show about medical job hunting? Yu Tang snorted coldly. What does it matter to you? Is this road opened by your family? Wu Weining's face was livid. You. SI fucking didn't even look at her, and entered the defense room with Yu Tang. Seeing her go in so openly, Wu Weining's eyes turned cold, and she turned to the staff in charge of recording. Our medical department does not allow outsiders to enter, right? She is a star, and she has attracted her group of brainless fans. How can we argue? The staff was stunned. You said Miss SI, she. Wan Ying, what are you doing standing at the door? In the auditorium, Director Li called out, hurry up, the judges are all seated, come in and get ready. Wu Weining hurried forward, here we come, teacher. In the auditorium, the judging panel was indeed full of people. Wu Weining sat in the back and waited. After everyone arrived, the host appeared. Today, I am very glad that we can gather here to hold the postgraduate defense of the Department of Medicine of Xia University. He held the microphone and smiled. Next, I will introduce the leaders and mentors who are defending the thesis today. Mr. Cai Zhonian, Mr. Cai, Professor Delt of the International Medical Organization. Wu Weining watched intently, and her heart became more and more excited. Until the host paused, the smile widened. There is another teacher that everyone should know, and there should be students who are her fans. This sentence stunned everyone present. Under Wu Weining's gradually frozen eyes, SI fucking stood up and greeted the audience. The applause suddenly became louder. Mr. SI is our special guest judge today, and was personally appointed by Mr. Cai Zhonian. She also broke through the difficulties of this year's International Medical Organization. The result of the defense, please prepare for each student. The first respondent, Wu Weining, please. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 470. Papa Papa. The audience applauded like thunder and lasted for a long time. The leaders and mentors who came to this defense also extended a warm welcome, but Wu Weining froze and did not move. She looked at SI fucking, who was sitting next to Cai Zhonian. Her brain stopped spinning in an instant. What did she hear? Special guest judges? SI fucking? SI fucking is a star. Why is he qualified to be a special guest judge? This is the postgraduate defense of the Department of Medicine of Xia University. Even if it is an undergraduate defense, SI fucking is not qualified to come. Wu Weining's teeth were trembling, and her body was also shivering, but she was still numb. Student Wu Weining, the host called again, is Wu Weining here? Director Li frowned. Wan Ying, what are you thinking? The judges who came today are heavyweights. Wu Weining snapped back to her senses, her palms sweating. She gritted her teeth, bit the bullet and took the prepared papers to the stage, and handed the printed answer papers to each of the judges. When it was handed over to Sci-fi, Wu Weiniang's anxiety and uneasiness reached the peak. What if Sci-fi deliberately finds fault with her to avenge his personal revenge? Wu Weiniang stood on the defense platform, her mind was still blank, and she didn't speak for a minute. Student Wu Weiniang may be too nervous. The host came out to smooth things over. Let's give Wu Weiniang a few seconds to rest. 10 seconds later, Wu Weiniang took a deep breath, and then began to reply. At the beginning, her voice trembled and stammered, but she became more and more fluent as she spoke later. Other leaders, mentors, and students in the audience listened carefully. Only Cai Zhongnian and Professor dealt. The more they listened, the more ugly their expressions became. Thanks to my mentor for guiding me, and thanks to my friends for supporting me. Wu Weiniang bowed towards the bottom. Please criticize and correct me more, so that I can have a deeper understanding of this in my future studies. Understanding. Yes, I have a question. Cai Zhongnian asked indifferently. This thesis you wrote is a new direction. It can be said that there are not many references. How did you research your core formulas and conclusions? Wu Weiniang's palms were more sweaty, and she managed to stabilize her voice. Because some aspects of cell transplantation have always been a problem, this is a direction I discussed with my supervisor, and I have read a lot of materials. After listening, Cai Zhongnian's eyes turned cold. Okay, I have no problem, Professor Delt. That's right, this classmate. Professor Delt nodded with a serious expression. I saw exactly the same core content of your paper 3 months ago. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent for an instant. Director Li opened his mouth in shock, looked at Wu Weiniang in disbelief, and stood up excitedly. Wu Weiniang's pupils shrank suddenly, and she blurted out, "This is impossible. Her thesis hadn't been finalized 3 months ago, how could there be an identical one?" Well, I also find it very strange, Professor Delt said lightly. Academician Cai Zhongnian submitted this paper to our international medical organization in person. We applied for a patent for this paper at that time, and it will be published in June. Scientific journals. Because the publication review is very slow, the new journal is only now in volume, but the patent was issued last month. I would like to ask Wu Weiniang, the first draft of your paper was at the end of March, and I read it as early as February. The same paper, more detailed than yours, with a lot of experimental basis. I asked your supervisor, you haven't done relevant experiments in the past few months, and even the topic of your thesis has been changed suddenly. Cai Zhongnian sneered. I ask you, where did you copy it from? This sentence directly sentenced Wu Weiniang to death, and the students listening in the audience were also extremely shocked. Wu Weiniang is one of the top students in the Faculty of Medicine of Xia University, otherwise she would not have been selected to participate in the birth of an employee. Such an excellent paper actually copied other people's core arguments. Only then did Wu Weiniang suddenly realize that she had seen the formulas and conclusions on Cai Zhongnian's desk, and her face turned pale. What's going on? Isn't that a waste manuscript? Someone actually wrote it, and handed it over to the International Medical Organization so early? If she didn't have a problem with the duplicate check, why would she continue to write? In an instant, Wu Weiniang's brain entered a state of hyperemia. I also have a question, Sci-fi said calmly. From the second step to the third step, how did you derive this formula? You omitted many steps in the middle, and these steps are very important, for example this. Wu Weiniang was sweating profusely and her hands were shaking. With her knowledge, she failed to understand what Sci-fi was talking about. Well, no, Sci-fi nodded slightly, and was very calm from the beginning to the end. No intermediate steps. How did you deduce the conclusion? Dreaming. As if being slapped across the face, Wu Weiniang was still speechless. She only saw those few formulas and conclusions, so how could she know that many important steps were omitted? Student Wu Weining, when you went to my office to look at the score sheet, I asked you if you had looked through other documents on the desk. Cai Zhongnian's eyes were sharp, and his voice was even colder. You said conclusively that you didn't. You are a top student of Xia University. I believe you. Your mentor asked you again and again a few days ago, but you still said no. I have given you many opportunities to take a step back. As long as you admit your mistakes, you can still recover. It's a pity that you didn't. Again and again, it was academic plagiarism again. Cai Zhongnian couldn't stand it anymore. Wu Weining's forehead was sweating more and more, and her back was getting chills. She opened her mouth, but couldn't say anything. Countless eyes focused on her body, like a thorn on her back, and it hurt like a needle prick. For a moment, she couldn't hear anything, and there were only 5 words echoing in her mind. How so? Yes, she did read it secretly. The formulas and conclusions on that paper at the beginning just affected the direction of her thesis, and she didn't intend to copy them all. But in the past few months, she has not seen the relevant papers, and she takes it for granted that this is hers. Who knew this kind of thing would happen in the graduation defense? Wu Weining's lips trembled. Cai Zhongnian invited professors from international medical organizations not to help her, but to expose her plagiarism in public. This is a graduation defense, which is too important for graduates. If she fails to pass the defense, she will postpone her graduation, and now, even her degree certificate will be cancelled. Wu Weining raised her head hastily, but she saw that Director Li was disappointed, and she didn't want to look at her again. The dean of the medical department is even more distressed, but he must also follow the rules. Wu Weining's thesis is suspected of plagiarism, her degree certificate will be revoked, and her student status will be expelled. Wu Weining's eyes darkened, and her body swayed. Once her degree certificate is revoked, she will not be able to find a job at all. Her 8 years of hard work in Xia University were completely ruined at this moment. At this time, Wu Weining regretted why she had to temporarily change the topic. Even if it was the previous topic, she would graduate very smoothly, not to this point. Okay, let's go. Cai Zhongnian waved his hand. Continue. Let me emphasize again, academic plagiarism is prohibited. The second one is Wei Chenjian. His defense was very smooth and he received high praise. Professor Delt did not hesitate to praise himself. The 4-hour defense ended quickly, and Wu Weining was still sitting under the stage, her face as pale as paper, and there were many noisy voices in her ears, and many people were discussing today's plagiarism incident. Wu Weining dared to copy old Cai stuff, how courageous it is. Hey, you don't understand. Some thieves steal things and think they belong to them. What's the use of studying well? His character is too low. Such a person cannot be a doctor. The judges also left the stage, and Sci-fi sent off all the professors, leaving the stage last. She went to look for Yu Tang at the back of the venue, but was stopped by Wu Weining. Why? Wu Weining's eyes were venomous, and she said hoarsely, Sci-fi, why did you ask me like that on stage? You're avenging yourself. If Sci-fi hadn't asked her that question, perhaps she could have clarified it by bumping into her research direction. But Sci-fi directly blocked all her retreats, and didn't stay at all. Wu Weining squeezed her palms, her voice was trembling, and her nerves were almost broken. Now my degree certificate has been revoked, and I can't get my graduation certificate. Are you satisfied? Sci-fi was already an unattainable superstar, so why bother to make trouble? Why? Sci-fi turned around and looked at her indifferently with a pair of fox eyes. The paper you copied is mine. Is this answer enough? Good news, Ching Ching, and your majesty are about to sign a book. Bad news, I haven't finished the first volume of Yinghuang's publication manuscript TVT. The worst news is that the three-dimensional is too busy this year, and life is difficult. See you tomorrow.